Hey, what's going on? Reece here. I just had a no-show, so I thought I'd come ahead and just record a video for you guys. Topic today is about therapy for entrepreneurs, and why, in my opinion, it's probably not going to create the effect that you're looking for in most cases. Now, I'm out here in Bali right now. I'm just going to quickly find somewhere to sit down, but I'm going to get straight to the point. I'm not going to beat around the bush in the video. I'm just going to get straight to it, which is that us entrepreneurs are problem solvers. It's what we do best. We solve problems. And therapists are speakers. They're really, really good at speaking to you. And generally and typically what happens in therapy is it's all about speaking and less about doing. So I saw a therapist for, I think it was 2.5 years or so. Still in it, but I see him very, very infrequently. I chose a male therapist because I believed, for some reason, that would mean that we could get more solution-based. What I wanted the conversations to be about is, this is something that I'm struggling with. Let us come up with a solution to that together. And from the very, very beginning, the first sessions I shared this, I was like, this is why I'm here. I'm here to find solutions to my problems. But what I found happening is that we brought these problems to the surface and left them there. And from a energetical standpoint, not to go too woo-woo or keep this short, but from an energetical standpoint, it's really dangerous for us to keep emotions just kind of there and not process them. So what I found myself doing, and I actually became incredibly sick. I developed, the doctors diagnosed that I had a chronic condition. I rejected that diagnosis and I've self-healed, so I'm totally fine now. But what I believe happened is so much stuff came to the surface, so much stuff that I had buried down over the years. Things from childhood, from being a teenager, all of the problems that I wanted to quote unquote solve with therapy. And we brought all these problems up, my therapist and I, to the point where I had just a lot of emotion being there. I think it's good, especially for men, to be able to process the emotion. But again, in therapy, you don't even process it. You just bring it up. You just talk about your problems. Like, these are the problems I'm facing. It's coming to my mind now that I really want to make a disclaimer really quick. If you're in a situation where you feel like your mental health is slipping to such a point that you really need to speak to somebody and get help, therapy is probably a good idea, and you should definitely go to a medical mental health professional. All right, I want to make that clear as a quick disclaimer, because I was never in that place where where I felt like I wanted to end this beautiful existence. I was just in a place where I felt like there were some things holding me back from growing, and I wanted to speak with somebody to remove those issues. But again, what happened is we were just bringing up these problems to the surface and leaving them there, and never having a way to actually process that emotion, to release that emotion once processed, and find solutions to keep moving forward in the best way possible. So essentially, if you are especially a man, or at least more of a masculine person, somebody who has more masculine energy than they do feminine energy, meaning generally speaking, you're more solution oriented, you're more focused on progression, more focused on improvement, and more focused when it comes to therapy on solving your problems, then you got to realize that therapy is probably not the way that's going to do that. Now, it will help you understand why you feel the way that you feel. It will help you process, or not process, but understand emotions. It will allow you to understand where certain things have come from. And by speaking, this is why I still see a therapist today, is because I find that by speaking, I'm able to come and realize things, remember things that I may have forgotten before, and see how things connect. So therapy does have its purpose. But for me, again, it's just bringing all of this stuff up to the surface. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, what happens when it's there? And when it's at the surface, for me, it manifested in the form of sickness, because I was not processing those emotions. I was just keeping them on the surface, and ultimately didn't actually lead to me getting anywhere itself. Now, once I understood it, I could then go and see mindset coaches and speak to my mentors and speak to them about the different issues that I was facing, and then together we found ways to overcome it. This is the same thing that I help my own students with these days, is, although my main thing is client acquisition systems for agencies, a large portion of why people don't succeed in the agency space is down to all of the traumas and things that they haven't processed yet, and all of the mindset issues that are coming up for them. So I'm going to be very vulnerable with you and just quickly share something that one of the main reasons that I started therapy, how therapy helped me, and then how it left me, and how I actually went ahead and solved it myself. So basically a couple years ago, I was already seeing a small level of results with the business, but I wanted to push it further. And what I found myself struggling with is speaking to strangers, like messaging strangers and saying, hey, basically pitching my offer. If you, by the way, if you just found this video and you have no idea what I'm talking about, just stick with me. If you're in the agency space, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I found myself limiting the outreach that I was doing because I was concerned about strangers judging me and rejecting me. So I went to therapy with the idea of solving this. We didn't end up really solving it. I just brought up, reasons from the past that may have created this fear of rejection, which was helpful. But therapy then became it's just reliving this past stuff. He would be like, okay, so what is one time of your life that you can remember feeling something like this before? And then I would mention it, and he'd be like, okay, and tell me more. How did that make you feel? So it's like a lot about emotion, and then you bring the emotion up, and then it's like your therapist wants to keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper, whereas you're like, once you found the core aspect, and they admit like, yeah, this is probably the core, it's like, then it doesn't go anywhere. So for me, we found the rejection, the core of this rejection and where that was coming from, stemming from bullying in childhood, family dynamics and things like that I won't get into the specifics right now. But there was a lot that came up there, and then we just lived to where it's just like, okay, so this is why I have it. But that was it. It was just like, okay, so what now? Do you just accept it? And what I found the therapist doing is putting me, me coming into this position where it seemed like every core problem that we got to, the solution was to just do the thing anyway. And he recommended the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I read it, and it was a great book, and it's really helped me. And I teach some of the concepts to people these days, which is why I say sometimes you just got to push through. But the problem is, if you don't actually focus on the core and you work on the core and you just try to push through, the problem is always going to be there. Like, sure, exposure therapy helps you where you just do the thing that you're scared to do, but if you don't take care of the core, then that same issue is just going to extend to any area, like many other areas of your life anyway. So you need to work on the core issue. The way that I did this with rejection is is a bit of exposure therapy. So just getting rejected as much as I can, just doing silly stuff, putting myself out there. You could say a form of that is recording this video right now and being vulnerable with people and speaking about a controversial topic that some people are not going to appreciate me talking about, which is essentially why I don't feel therapy works, especially for male entrepreneurs. The main message that I'm getting across right now is that in therapy, you bring all of this stuff up to the surface, which again helps and is part of the process, but it doesn't complete the process. It leaves you like, this is the circle of completing this process, and it just like does just a bit of it, which is helping you understand what the thing is. And once you understand what the thing is, then you have to go ahead and try and figure it out yourself, how to get rid of it. Now, thankfully, again, I've seen a bunch of coaches, I've had a bunch of mentors to speak with that have helped me walk through and find ways to deal with this. And now, and I've developed my own ways to go about it now, which has been really helpful. But it's just, people go into therapy expecting that it's going to change their life, and therapy itself, it's not. If you don't have what it takes to understand what's coming up in therapy and then actively going ahead and finding a solution yourself, you're not going to solve anything. You're just bringing the pain up to the surface. That's it. That's really my message for today's video. I did say that I would talk about how I kind of got rid of that rejection stuff, and the main way, honestly, actually, to be fair, was just doing things that would allow me to get rejected. But the biggest thing that helped me is reframing And this was something that a concept that I didn't even learn from therapy. I had to go and do the studying and learn this myself, which is just reframing the situation. So if you feel like you're scared of being rejected, just reframe it. Just instead of thinking, what if I get rejected? What if people don't like this video? What if people don't like the fact that this lighting is terribly off right now? What if it's too loud, or whatever else? If those are the things coming up, what about the reverse? What if this video changes lives? What if people watch this video and are inspired to travel and see incredible places and whatever else? Like there's so much good stuff that can come from it if you just reframe, and you think about it from a different perspective. Once you do that enough, you naturally become a more positive person, and you start reframing everything and making everything positive. And the other thing that has really helped me is just always asking why to pretty much everything, and that allows you to really deeply understand who you are. And what I mean by that is, if there's something that you don't want to do, you just ask yourself why you don't want to do it, right? But you go several layers deep. So we'll use that example. So for me, I didn't want to do outreach. So in that position, I would be like, okay, I don't want to do outreach. Why don't I want to do outreach? But what about outreach do I not want to do? I realized for me specifically, it was strangers. If somebody was coming to me, it was easy for me to go ahead and speak to them and eventually pitch them if I could help them. But the struggle was with strangers. I don't have that anymore because I understood where it came from. I used exposure therapy to just do the thing anyway. And most importantly, reframed it. I was like, hold on, I'm scared of speaking to strangers, but it's the strangers that need me more than the people that know who I am. Because the people that know who I am, they're getting some form of value from me anyway, whereas the strangers are not. So in a strange way, the strangers actually need me even more than the people who already know who I am. So it's my duty, it's my obligation to go out and find the strangers, see if I can help them, and if I can, pitch them. And pitch them to the point where if I truly believe that I can help them, it's my duty to do everything in my power to make that happen. That is reframing. And with the power of reframing, you can improve every area of your life just by making it better, by reframing, taking action, asking yourself the difficult questions, getting to know yourself in such an extent by just asking yourself why about everything that you can think of, from what food you eat, to the music that you listen to the clothes that you wear, to the places that you vacate and you travel to. All of these different things, you just got to figure out and work out why. And once you know that, and once you reframe, and once you do the things anyway, that's where the solution comes from. But therapy itself is not going to solve your problems. It's going to bring your problems up to the surface, and you need to then take that and go ahead and put action into actually solving the things, because just talking about it and exploring why you feel the way that you feel is not going to solve things for you. You got to go out and you got to put in the work and do the things necessary to make it happen so you can actually change your life. Okay, so once again, I still see a therapist. We see each other right now twice a month. I'm thinking about decreasing that further and just doing it once a month, maybe for a longer session, because for me, it's great for me to just bring things up, but then once I bring it up, it's down on my shoulders to go ahead and work on it. And if I don't work on it, nothing changes. Hope that was helpful. If you're an agency owner and you're looking for more clients, click the first link in the description below. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video. Click subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video.